Yo, what's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Right now, we have a killer deal. If you sign up for coaching within the next 12 days, you will get 18 weeks instead of the usual 12 weeks. Now is the right time to change your life. There's a link in the description below. Click that.
Hey everybody, in this video we're going to talk about another one of my favorite articles that Andy has ever written. I think everyone on this who watches this channel is very familiar with his videos, but I'm not sure how many of you have actually gone to his blog and read through his older articles. Back from when he was doing game and dating a lot harder, when he was going through his phase of learning how to pick up BDSM girls, learning how to pick up threesomes on the regular. When he was finding a lot of stuff out, he was also writing these great blog posts, and yeah, some of them are just absolute classics, and this is one of my favorite ones. And actually, unlike the last one I talked about, this is also one of Andy's favorite ones, so we're actually in sync and aligned when it comes to one of his articles being the best. This one is called "Oh No, You've Angered the Gods," and it really goes for the throat of inexperienced and new guys who are telling themselves a load of bullshit stories about their own dating. I kind of want to hammer home that when you're inexperienced and that you don't know a lot about dating women, about getting laid, about the whole process, you're not a reliable observer or narrator of what's happening. You don't have the experience. Now, when it comes to what we're going to talk about, there'll also be guys who are experienced who will occasionally fall into this trap, but I'm going to let them off because, well, they have the feedback from the world, they have the experience, they have their own data. So if they're coming to certain conclusions, it's actually based more off of data than what I'm going to talk about. But for guys who have dated maybe one or two girls who are virgins, or who have been with one girl their entire life and have got out that relationship and now trying to start to date, a lot of the ideas you have about dating are superstitions. That's all I can really, that's about as generous as I can be, because they're theories that you have in your mind that aren't based off of a lot of evidence. They're based more off of one-off occasions or every now and again. And because that thing led to maybe a bad outcome or even maybe a good outcome in your dating life, you've put undue value on whatever it was that you did or didn't do. One of the examples Andy gives in this article is the 10-second reply idea, where guys have this idea they reply too quickly to girls' messages, that is maybe a reason that girls don't have sex with them or think they're too needy or whatever. And typically replying fast to messages is actually a good thing in my experience, especially when on Tinder you want to reply to the messages while you're at the top of a stack sometimes. But guys will have a couple of experiences where they have maybe texted girls back really quickly, and then the girl stops responding, or the girl comes out on a date but doesn't have sex with them, and they blame it on something as small as this. And this is what we mean by taking a very small sample size, and this is why it's mostly aimed at inexperienced guys, and then creating a rule in your head based off of this one small thing, which is essentially now becoming a superstition. And the reason Andy put it down as oh no, I've angered the gods, is that guys will stack up quite a few of these superstitions, quite a few of these so-called rules. Stuff everything you have to do on a date, everything you have to do on messaging, everything you have to do on in the bedroom when you get her back to yours. And if you have all of these rules, you're going to be really harsh on yourself. You're going to be really stressed and really nervous. And if you break any of these superstitions, might become something of a self-fulfilling prophecy in your mind, because you did something you're not meant to do, and you anger the gods, and then you don't get to have sex with a girl, or the girl ghosts you, or the girl flakes on your date, That's because in your mind, you did something wrong, when realistically, you have no idea why a girl rejected you in any one-off occasion. We just don't. We can't read girls' minds. It's very rare that you'll get an explanation if you ask them, although some girls potentially will give you some explanation. It's just one of those things where we see guys a lot making up stories in their minds as to why certain girls rejected them. And we want inexperienced guys to try and seriously avoid doing this if they possibly can. Just avoid making up stories, or at best, learn to spot when you're making up stories. If you can catch yourself in the process of making up stories and saying, oh, I did this thing, therefore this happened. If you can catch yourself and go, no, I don't really have enough data. I don't really have enough experience to say that for certain. I might be wrong, then you'll suddenly be a lot more free because you'll stop like blaming yourself. You'll stop having those self-fulfilling prophecy moments. You'll give yourself a bit of a break, understanding that like dating is in the early days when you don't have much data, you don't have much experience, it can feel quite chaotic. It feels like you're like trapped in a storm, like blowing in several different directions. You don't really know what you're doing. But after like 100 dates, yeah, you kind of get into a groove, you get into a rhythm, you have like more, I guess, trained reflexes to a lot of stuff. You have a trained vibe. You don't really need to think about it. A lot of it's just done on instinct and reflex and muscle memory. And that's where you want to get to. You don't really want to be in a situation where you're stacking up all of these rules that you have to follow. Like I said earlier, experienced guys, a lot of them have tested a lot of stuff. You'll see guys on our forums, a lot of them with massive experience, like 3-figure lay counts. They've tested a lot of things. And yeah, at that point, you kind of have the right to start saying, this is probably what works based on my last 100 experiences of this. That's fair. That's a decent sample size. At the same time, understand that you can do basically everything wrong, so to speak, and still get laid. A lot of the time when we focus on these, like, self-development is a good thing in this regard because of like, if you're like incredibly good looking, if you have an incredibly strong Tinder profile, a lot of what we would call like game and the strategies and like your behavior on the dates, etc., you really have to fuck up quite badly to like not get laid when you are reached a certain point in self-development. When you look, as Andy would say, when you look like a literal god, it's really hard to punt it. And the fact that guys can just get laid accidentally is also kind of down to the numbers game too. Like at some point you're going to meet girls that are so fuck yes that none of these rules fucking matter. None of the advice in game fucking matters. You've just met a girl who is so hard into you that you'd really have to like you'd actually have to like reject her to fuck it up. Like you'd have to reject yourself. And I've seen guys do that, to be fair. It's one of those things where guys can reject themselves with girls. Like it's not always a case of a girl rejecting you. It's a guy you don't go with it. You don't have like that drive to just go with it. You make up an excuse in your mind and then for some reason you twist it to say that she rejected you, and really you didn't put yourself forward and make a move when she was really like, there for it. So I think, yeah, just be aware of like situations where it's a real slam dunk and none of these rules fucking matter. That's what we like about Alex Hormozy has a saying, and this is obviously to do with business, not to do with dating, but he likes to say there are no rules. And part of that is like, people innovating, the landscape changing, things are not the same as they were like 2 years ago. And in business, things move very quickly. There's creative destruction. Dating changes too. Like online dating completely changed the shape of modern dating. And it's only been around really since like 2012-ish. I remember being at university when Tinder came out. Now we've got other dating apps that are very popular, very successful. People would argue that post-COVID, it's been quite weird. Like dating's been a bit interesting and things have changed a little bit even more. Like the post-Me Too movement, things have changed from the advice that was given before Me Too. So there's a lot of things going into what the rules are, what people are advising at any given time. I'm going to keep doing fucking air quotes, We want guys to be a little bit more flexible and roll with it and innovate and try their own stuff. But I think fundamentally, I want inexperienced guys to recognize they don't know very much, to recognize when they don't have much data, to be humble, to be open to trying new things. Andy and I are very big on guys, trying the direct and honest approach, for instance, being more direct, being more honest in your conversations with girls. You don't have to do that necessarily like on Tinder and the apps, but like we would recommend that when you're in person having like a connection with a girl, that you like, you be free and willing to like open up a little bit more and bring her onto your team. That's the sort of thing that we recommend. And guys can be a little bit hesitant towards this because of the rule sets they've been given by other creators in the space, by their own superstitions more so though, by guys who just from their own limited experience haven't had any, haven't attempted this, haven't tried this. Once guys try being honest with girls, being direct with girls, and it works, they're all on board. But before they do it, while they're still full of superstitions about what dating should be, what their experiences have been, what like their 4 experiences with women have been like, and what that informed them, they can be, very hesitant to try this slightly more out there, more, it's quite a radical, pardon the pun, outlook to say, you know, be as honest as you can with girls, be super direct. So yeah, it's something that it's a struggle that Andy and I have as coaches, and also the coaches in our group, you know, to sometimes get across to guys that these things work. We have proof that it works. We have, you know, other people that prove that it works. That's how sometimes that works best if you're trying to like get through someone's superstitions, if you're trying to get through someone's you know, preconceived beliefs. It's good to be able to point to examples. And, you know, Andy has tons of examples of previous clients and coaching clients. If you want to see the evidence of the stuff that like Andy preaches and the stuff that he preaches that gets him girls who are into BDSM and gets him to threesomes, the stuff that I have always personally used in my dating, on my online dating, in my approaches, if you just go to his client interviews, you'll see the successes that guys have had. I think what's most appealing about our direction and our style is that a lot of guys want to be that way. A lot of guys want to be more direct and honest, but they think, you know, they think it's like the wrong tactic or the wrong strategy. And the more inexperienced guys we can get to see that it's worth trying, or at least be open to trying it and knock through some of these superstitions, the better for us and the better for those guys. I will say I have to be like mindful of my own superstitions. I'm not saying this doesn't ever happen to me, you know, like becoming superstitious, extrapolating a rule set about dating from like a one or two one-off occasions. Everyone is susceptible to it. No matter how advanced you are, there's probably like guys who are like, you know, multi-hundred lay count, whatever, who have these sort of superstitions that aren't true, but like it's just been stuck in their mind. Like I often get like, you know, I read the forums and I see something interesting from other guys and the idea will get like stuck in my mind. And it's like, it's not based off any actual practical experience. It's more based off of someone's, you know, very convincing arguments, or they've pointed to other evidence. And it's like, the other thing that's true in dating is that a lot of different methods can work. And the debate is obviously like, you know, which one is better? But that's not really the point that's important. Like if they all work, then they're all valid options to try necessarily. And I would say like, if there's a 20% like difference in how effective they are, probably not even worth that much arguing about. It would only really be worth arguing about if one was like double the effectiveness rate of another. And I haven't really seen a lot of counter arguments. I haven't seen a lot of guys having a lot of success with stuff that I don't personally do and incorporate and like would refuse to, unless it's like super like, you know, manipulative and lying or whatever. Fine. Yeah, that's just not in my personal ethical boundaries to use. But like a lot of the stuff that is, I'm already using, and I will be open to hearing and testing it. And like I personally, even though I'm at a level of like experience and been doing dating for several years, I'm ethically non-monogamous. I'm kind of always single to some degree, or at least always looking for dates. I'm always open to testing and trying new things. I'm not wedded to any old methods, any old, you know, messaging templates or how I structure my dates or, you know, all that stuff. Always open to trying new things. That is a good mindset I think everyone should have. As Alex or Mosey said, there are no rules. Don't set yourself super hard rules. Be more flexible. Build yourself your stoicism. Build like your experience with women. Those would be like the two. Be able to handle the chaos of dating, and then build your actual like lived experience dating women. Those are the two things I would focus on over everything. And at the same time, be flexible in your approach. Be open to trying new things. Don't be superstitious. Don't believe that the gods are what is determining whether you get laid or not. It's you and how you navigate this chaotic world. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I recommend you go read Andy's article. Peace out till next time.
Hello again, it's your favorite or second favorite ginger, depending on which one of us you like, me or Cam. Just reminding you that I have the 18 weeks coaching deal right now, so 18 weeks instead of the usual 12 if you pay in full in the next 12 days. Tyler signed up for the coaching program as a virgin who hadn't even kissed a girl in 5 years. Through the coaching program, we helped him lose his virginity, have a ton of sex, completely revamp his Tinder profile, and build a sex life he never could have dreamed was possible. We even helped him do his 100 approaches in a week challenge, and he completed it. Absolute legend. Oh, and he's 5'4". So no more excuses about women only go for 6-foot men or above. Tyler really wasn't special. He was just a regular guy who joined my coaching program, put in the work, and improved himself just a little bit every day. If he can do it, you sure as hell can too. Grab this 18-week coaching deal. Like I said, you only have 12 days to grab it. The time is right now. There's a link in the description below. Click that and let's fucking go.